ever feel like you could use a little boost of positivity? Something that really clicks with our Indian roots.
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we are diving deep into the world of positive affirmations, but with a unique twist.
Okay.
We're checking out this really fascinating article
Okay.
by Preeti Sharma. She's a clinical psychologist, and get this, she's based right here in India.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's called The Power of Positive Affirmations in the Indian Context. And it really got me thinking because, I've always been curious about affirmations,
Mm.
but I also want something that, resonates with my life and my experiences.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's unpack how this technique can actually be, personalized for us
Yeah.
and the areas where it's proving super helpful right here in India.
For sure. And one of the things I found really interesting about Sharma's take is that she kind of goes beyond that surface level of, just thinking happy thoughts.
Okay, so tell me more about that. How does she approach it?
She really dives into the how behind it all,
Okay.
explaining that these affirmations are actually tools to rewire your thinking.
Rewire your thinking. That makes it sound like, well, magic. Almost.
Yeah.
I mean, does it really work that way?
Right. And I think, she acknowledges that skepticism is natural
Yeah,
because it does sound almost too good to be true.
it does.
But then she brings in the science.
Okay.
Right.
One minute.
And explains how these short, powerful statements, repeated consistently, can actually change our brain patterns. And it's this concept called neuroplasticity, essentially, meaning that our brains are incredibly adaptable. They're constantly molding and rewiring themselves based on the input we're giving them.
Interesting.
So think of it like this. Every time you repeat an affirmation, it's like you're creating a new pathway in your brain.
Okay.
And you're strengthening it with every repetition.
Okay, so it's not magic, it's science.
Exactly.
And you know what? That actually reminds me of something we've been practicing for centuries.
Yeah.
Mantras.
Absolutely.
The repetitive chanting in our traditions for spiritual growth, that's based on the same principle, right?
Exactly, yeah. You're creating those neural pathways.
Yeah.
But instead of solely focusing on the spiritual side, affirmations, as Sharma explains them, are more geared towards our mental and emotional well-being. And what I found insightful is how she highlights these specific areas where affirmations land differently for us, specifically in the Indian context.
Yes. That's what I'm most curious about, these Indian challenges that she talks about.
Yeah.
I feel like this is where it gets really relevant for us, living here.
Absolutely. One of the biggest things she sees in her practice is the struggle with self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
And, many of us are raised to value achievements and external validation above all else.
Yeah.
And that can make it really tough to recognize our own inherent worth.
Oh, 100%. Growing up, it was always about getting good grades, landing that stable job, and don't even get me started on the whole marriage pressure.
Right. And all of those achievements are important, but they shouldn't be the sole measure of our worth.
Exactly.
So Sharma offers affirmations like, I am worthy of love and respect regardless of my accomplishments.
Right.
It's about reminding ourselves that our value comes from within.
That's so powerful, especially in our culture, right?
Yeah.
I feel like comparison and societal expectations are, intense,
For sure.
to say the least.
And it's not just self-worth, right? She also talks about this constant tug of war between family expectations and personal desires.
Oh, this one's huge. It's like this unspoken pressure, right, to prioritize family obligations over your own aspirations.
Yeah.
Imagine having to give up on your dream career path.
Yeah.
Because it's not considered, quote unquote, stable enough for the family. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've felt that.
It's a very real struggle that so many Indians face. And, as a psychologist, Sharma sees it firsthand in her practice.
Right.
And the guilt, the pressure to conform, it's a lot to carry. But this is where affirmations like, I honor both my family's expectations and my personal desires can be a game changer.
Okay.
It's about finding that balance, not rejecting one or the other.
It's like giving yourself permission to honor both sides,
Yes.
To acknowledge that your dreams and your family's hopes for you, they don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Exactly. And then on top of that, you have the pressure cooker of career expectations, right? And then just this constant bombardment of unrealistic body image standards.
Oh, tell me about it. Especially with social media, it feels like everyone's chasing after this perfect image of success and beauty. That honestly just feels unattainable.
it can feel very unattainable. And that's where I think Sharma's approach is so refreshing. She actually provides examples that are tailored to counter these very specific struggles.
Okay.
So, for example, instead of getting caught up in the comparison game at work, right, you can use affirmations like, I am capable and confident in my professional abilities,
Hmm.
just as a way to kind of ground yourself. Or for body image, shifting the narrative to, I love and accept my body as it is.
Yeah, it's about like consciously choosing to focus on self-acceptance over those external pressures.
Exactly, taking back control of your narrative.
Okay, so how do we actually put these affirmations into practice? Because it's one thing to say them, but it's another to actually, make them a regular thing.
Right, and I think Sharma gives some really practical tips. She suggests starting your day with affirmations,
Okay.
just to kind of set that positive tone, right? Right
Right.
from the moment you wake up. And, integrate them into existing practices that you might already be doing. So if you have a morning yoga or meditation routine,
Mm-hmm.
you can incorporate them into that. Or even like while you're sipping your chai.
I love that she emphasizes using our native languages.
Yeah.
I feel like it adds a whole other level of depth and personal connection to the affirmations, don't you think?
Absolutely. It just makes the whole practice a lot more relatable.
Yeah.
And, I think she also acknowledges that elephant in the room, right? It can feel a little awkward
It does.
saying these affirmations out loud, especially in the beginning.
Yeah. It feels strange at first. I'm like, am I really doing this?
And she reassures us that that's totally normal.
Okay.
It's a new practice. And like with any new skill, it takes time and consistency. It's not about instant magic.
Right.
It's about gradually shifting your mindset.
It's about building that muscle of positivity.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that's what I appreciate about Sharma's approach is that it's very grounded in reality. She emphasizes that affirmations aren't about denying the challenges we face.
Mm-hmm.
It's about approaching those challenges with a more hopeful and resilient mindset,
Right.
especially as we navigate, this ever-changing landscape of life in India.
Right. It's like, yeah, acknowledge the reality, but don't let it define you. Choose to focus on the positive.
Yeah.
Choose to believe in your own strength. I love that. What a powerful message, especially for us. So as we wrap up, I'm curious, which of these areas that we talked about kind of resonated most strongly with you? And what's one affirmation that you can start practicing like today to kind of shift your mindset in that area?
Mm-hmm.